Yes, 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 people. Bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up yourselves. Once again, this is myself, Nynefa in the cup. Yeah, just quickly passing through, people, but yeah, just wanted to follow on from my last little topic on conversation. And yeah, I know the topic of, you know, the youth killing and the violence and so forth might be a bit draining, and like I said, not necessarily sexy topics. And I know certainly there's many persons that might be, not even tired of it, but just a little bit drained, and I appreciate that. Or in fact, I get a better appreciation of it daily, to be fair, in that, I don't know, unfortunately some of the stuff that we're hearing and seeing has become a bit normalized for people, quote unquote normal. Come on, it's normal. And it's definitely not normal for me, to be honest with you, family. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely not honest. It's definitely not normal for me. Although I have to acknowledge that it is for others, unfortunately. But I just wanted to really come and pass through and just say, as it says in the title, yeah, that after the spate of killings that we've had in the last, was it 5 days, 6 days? Sorry, 5 killings in 6 days. And obviously, the police probably think they have to be seen to be doing something. And in the good old Standard today, the head, on the fourth page, I should say, is Met Chief vows to target 190 gangs which are fueling violent crime in London. Yeah, so I'm just really going to come and touch on this, pass through and talk on this for a minute. Now, it didn't make the headline, it didn't make the front page, and I feel if it wasn't for that real unfortunate incident in America, it probably would have made the front page still. And with that, let's even take out the time to, again, just rest in eternal peace for all those, you understand, that suffered in this massacre. Oh dear, of the students in America. 12 dead as gunman throws smoke grenades into a US bar and opens fire. What type of world are we living in? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Where we have young people doing this type of madness, and we know it's not the first time there's been such a massacre in America, and we know it's not going to be the last time. Just to, again, now this is from the Standard, people, yeah? And the reason you're hearing me read from the Standard is, one, I'm still probably a little bit of an old-fashioned girl and likes to read a newspaper, although obviously I know we get our news on social media also. But two, it's a paper that I receive on the way home from work, as anyone that sort of commutes in the day will, or can find it at certain spots and so forth. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, living in London, it's a paper that gets a lot of views, So whatever it is that I'm reading, obviously, there's many thousands of persons that have read the same thing. So, and that's why, so that's why I use it, because at the end of the day, it is social commentary, and it's definitely social commentary on a media that's popular. Yeah, so I could feel sort of confident with its content also. Yeah, so like I said, rest in peace. For those of you that may or may not have heard, yep, massacre of dance night students. 12 dead as gunman throws smoke grenades into a US bar and opens fire. It reads at least 12 people, including a hero police officer, were killed today after a maniac gunman opened fire on hundreds of students at a Californian bar. Witnesses told how the man said to be wearing a black trench coat. Oh, family, are you hearing? It's a black trench coat. So you know he's what, some film or the other. I'm sure that's from some character. Fired 30 times and threw smoke bombs as revelers were line dancing, line dancing, you know. So you know that's just, oh my gosh, line dancing at the Border Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks, a suburb northwest of Los Angeles. Many at the country and western student night hid under tables and in toilets, smashing windows to escape during the attack, which happened at around 11:20 local time. And they said that's like 7:20 our time. So that's obviously 7:20 this morning, you know? So, I mean, oh, so obviously that's going to bring in the gun laws into question, and they're going to probably have that kind of argument that we really know it's not going to go anywhere because at the end of the day, it's their, what is it, their First Amendment or one of the amendments. Uh, so yep, uh, officer named the dead officer as Sheriff Deputy Sergeant Ron Helios, who shot as he entered the bar to confront the gunman. Yeah, so again, rest in peace to that gentleman there. You know, it goes on to say the attacker was also found dead inside, but it was unclear how he died. Authorities said this morning they did not yet know his name or have any idea of a motive. Yeah. So I'm not sure if that's moved on since then, because obviously this was this evening. But yeah, just definitely rest in peace to those, you know, the victims and the family. I mean, how many of those sort of situations does America need to go through until they put something a little bit more stronger in place? But under this president, I'm sure he's trying to actually strengthen the gun laws and etc. etc. So I'm not even too sure how that's going to work out, man. But yeah. So yes, family, like I was saying now, the last couple of times I spoke to you was obviously about, you know, the young men that lost their lives in the last few days. Okay, so I don't know if the Met's got a bit triggered or if they definitely know that they've got to be doing something. But here we have a headline, like I said, yeah, Met chief fails to target 190 violent gangs. It says Scotland Yard chief, good old Cressida Dick, today defended the Met's tactics in tackling knife crime in London as she pledged to relentlessly, quote unquote, target 190 gangs fueling the violent crime wave. Yeah, so they've got a number, 190 gangs, where they've plucked that number. That would be nice to know. Says writing in the Standard after 5 killings in 6 days, she said her officers had increased the use of stop and search, taken thousands of knives off the streets, and were acting on intelligence to prevent attacks. Her comments came after Home Secretary Sajid Javid urged Scotland Yard to step up the police response, including stop and search to end the bloodshed. Yeah, so doesn't seem. I mean, the question is, what were they doing before, isn't it? Really and truly, and we already know that she's asked the officers to concentrate more on knife violence than things like, what did she say? Was it bigotry or something like that? I mean, really low level crimes that seem to be taking the police officers' times and resources. Yeah, where we've actually got real things out in the communities that they could really be dealing with. It goes on. Mr. Javid interrupted a visit to the United States to call the Met Commissioner. So yeah, so they mash up his little state visit to call the Met Commissioner for an update on recent series of knife deaths. His intervention increases pressure on her and London Mayor Sadiq Khan to stem the tide of violence. Now, if you remember last week, you remember the guy, Sean Bailey, who's the Conservative mayoral candidate? And you remember last week, he definitely called out Sadiq Khan regarding these issues and basically said he's not doing nothing, you know? So, he says, yep, his intervention increases pressure on her and London Mayor Sadiq Khan to stem the tide of violence. Yeah, because what Sean was also just finding ways, yeah, to get himself to number 10 Downing Street. Yeah, so which I thought was a very interesting statement. It also says in a separate interview with Sky News, Mr. Javid also admitted that the police need more funding. Yeah, more funding, which we already know, knife violence, and hinted that Chancellor Philip Hammond could come forward with extra cash in the coming weeks. Yeah, so here they're talking about potentially getting extra cash for the police, but what about extra cash, yeah, to provide some product services and programs for the young children, yeah, to actually involve themselves with? Yeah, that could be also a suggestion. Yeah, obviously, in fact, you need money for both, to be fair. Yeah, both the police and things for the youth to do. Yeah, because we know, for example, in a borough like Haringey that houses Tottenham, okay, we know that Tottenham, okay, has been very unfortunate, yeah, to have lost several young people, you understand, to violence and so forth. Also, doing the point being that I know for a fact that Haringey has suffered at least 75% cuts in their play and services. Yeah, 75% cuts. Okay, and we know that they're working on a very um, low budget. Okay, and with that, they've got to do many things. So we know that the youth clubs have been closed down. We know that there aren't the programs for the young people that they once was. These things are all very well documented. Okay, so all I'm saying at that point is, just as much as you can try to find money for extra police, how about also trying to find some extra money to run some services for the young people to attend? Yeah, how about that? But it goes on. Where am I? So the extra cash. On a trip to Seattle, Mr. Javid said he was deeply worried, quote unquote. Yeah, how worried about the spiraling violence in London, and that he was in discussions with the Chancellor to make sure the police had the financial resources they needed. He said he had a commitment from Mr. Hammond to sit down with me and discuss what resources is needed for the police, and we have the December settlement just a few weeks away. So this is something that can be looked into very quickly. I don't know, family. I'm telling you the truth. As I'm reading these people's statements, I'm not really feeling that. Do you know what I mean? That urge from the words themselves, man. It just sounds very, incidental. Well, I've got to do something about it, man. So yeah, we'll try a bit of this. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So I'm definitely not. I mean, obviously they're words on the paper, man, but words sound and power, people. You don't know, yeah. So they're saying it can be looked in very quickly. So why this couldn't have been done before, I don't know. But I'll go on. He spoke as 4 more young people were recovering in hospital after being stabbed in London in the past 48 hours. Yeah, people. So as well as the 5 that we've lost, yeah, within the last 48 hours, yeah, 4 more. Do you understand? Young people were covered in hospital after being stabbed in London in the past 48 hours. None were said to be in a life-threatening condition, thank you, Jesus. A man in his 20s was stabbed in 3rd Avenue, Enfield, shortly after 11 p.m. last night. He is said to be in a stable in hospital, and 2 men have been arrested. Thank you. Good stuff. A stabbing in Shepherd's Bush at midday. Yes, this is what I'm saying, people. This one saying midday. Now, remember the report yesterday said that it's peak for children traveling home. Do you understand, Carl? That's where a lot of the violence takes place. And now today, yeah, a day later, I'm reading saying a stabbing in Shepherd's Bush at midday, 12 o'clock, people. Yeah, 12 o'clock. Yeah. That's when people could be out with their children, with their little young babies. 12 o'clock is lunchtime. I mean, what the hell, man? He was knifed yards. Here we go. There you go. He was knifed yards from a children's nursery in Willowvale. He was today said to be stable. Well, again, give thanks. Yeah. But look at this. Like, there's no respect out there. They don't care. Look. Yeah. Near a children's nursery. Yeah. I mean, come on, people, man. Well, come on. You know what I mean? You lot out there, man. You understand? Oh my gosh, you're telling me you can't even try and find safer places to do your crud. You haven't even got the respect not to be. Listen to me, man. A 17-year-old boy remained in critical but stable condition in hospital today after he was stabbed in West Hampstead on Tuesday night. Another man, 21. Okay, so we know of the other one, so I'm not gonna really go over those ones. Yeah. So as it stands, yeah, all I've seen is an increase in stop and search and a promise of some more money. Let me see if I read any more and if anything more significant comes out. So, so she said, this is Cressida Dick, by the way. She said the cause of the rise in violence are complex. You don't say. And are the solution, I'm sorry, and so are the solutions. But each and every one of my officers and staff, whether they are a firearms officer, interesting, a neighborhood officer, or a court handler, know violence is our #1 priority and have this at the forefront of their minds, whatever they are doing. Yeah, so, okay, so it looks like it's become a bit of a priority then. Is that what they're saying? Do you not agree? I don't even know, boy, to drop the link, you know, I'm new to this thing here, people. But she said the cause of the rising violence is a complex, and so are the solutions. But each and every one of my officers and staff, whether they are firearms officers, neighborhood officer, or a call handler, know violence is our #1 priority and have this at the forefront of their minds, whatever they are doing. So, family, does that fill us with confidence? Do we feel confidence after hearing such a statement from old old Chris? Yeah. Do we feel state? Do we? All right, hold on. Before I start being funny, let me continue. They take this personally and are determined to arrest the people that blight our communities, often working bravely in dangerous situations. Fair enough. She said the Violent Crime Task Force had arrested more than 1,800 violent weapon carrying people since it was launched 7 months ago. She says we have increased use of stop and search, acting on intelligence to prevent violence before it takes place, including in the boroughs where we have seen the recent tragic murders. This week, we have redeployed additional officers in South London who the public will see out and about with local officers. Yeah, so they're obviously saying that they're increasing the manpower. Okay, so I'm gonna look out to see if I see that. I must admit, came through a main station in South London today, and I'll definitely say that I saw policemen more than normal. Although I'm not sure if they were there for knives or just for flipping fair dodges, but okay, but this is what we're supposed to be seeing in the future. She also declared war on 190 gangs, which she said were committing more than half of all the gun crime in the capital, but were also recruiting vulnerable young people, drawing them into a life of drug dealing and sexual exploitation and violence through a false sense of belonging, which is then incredibly hard for them to escape. Now, people, for me, that's a very important statement that she just made. And again, this is where all of these things are the ripple effects of all these crimes. Yeah, because it's not just the victim or the victim's families. Yeah, then like it's been said here, it's about the other persons that are involved in the game. Yeah, where you then have sexual exploitation. Yeah, obviously the violence that comes to the drug dealing. Yeah, we already know about county lines and all these different things. Yeah, but it's just very depressing. But not just to sit here and say it's depressing. My thing is about how, like I was saying yesterday, community involvement. It's the only way forward, man. Even though the police are saying all these things, I mean, it'll be nice to know how, like, who in the community have the police even gone to? That ought to be a good question. Or how are they going to spend this money? Like I said, well, we know they're only going to be, they're going to be putting more manpower out there, but I don't know, in terms of the community involvement, which I know is a sticky issue as well, but it's one that I really want to talk about in the future, because for me, the only way forward is some type of working together. Yeah, it's just the only way forward. The commissioner, sorry, I'm going to go on with the article, soon finish. The commissioner spoke of a police effort to safeguard children in a more sophisticated way. What could that mean? Sophisticated way. And how officers used teachable moments in custody to help them away from crime. She said forces were stretched, but called for communities to work together. That's what I'm saying. And say enough is enough. That's what I'm saying, people, man. Are we ready to go out there and say enough is enough? Would these young people even listen if we were to say enough is enough? Because I've been having some conversations, and I'm not gonna lie, family, and I'm having conversations with quote unquote man them that are out there, and I don't know. I didn't leave feeling happy or confident. But there have been 119 murders in London so far this year, nearing last year's total of 123. So we've only got 4 to go, peeps, to beat next year. So that's one thing. Only 4 to beat next year. So yeah, that's just, like I said, a little article from the Standard. So obviously, what we can conclude from that is supposed to see more police on the streets, and yeah, more stop and search. That's all I kind of deduced from that article, which for me is quite a shame, really, because this is a time where they could be far more innovative, and I don't know. Like I said, even from the start of the article, they just don't sound serious, and it just sounds very reactionary. But at the same time, an honest question is, how much should they care about black on black killing? That is the reality. Now, we know if it was that level of white on white killing, it would be a whole different story. And some would argue fair enough. Do you understand? And that's why I keep reiterating that it's gonna take us. Yeah. Now, when I speak to some of the man, them, it's like I don't know. I don't know. It's like, I don't know if we're just throwing out the baby with the bathwater kind of thing. But me now having a young soldier myself, and young nieces and nephews and so forth, who are also bringing in new generations into the world, or definitely into London, because this is where we are right now. How can we try and provide a safer future, man? Do you know what I mean? I know you lot listening might be thinking, what are you talking about, woman? But because, all right, one thing I've learned is that you see this kind of night, or let's just call it violence, youth violence. One thing I learned is that for many, I don't want to use the word normal, but it's a word that I've heard used in it. So it's normal, yeah. And again, that's very frightening for me, the whole normalization of it. But I have had an experience where I actually witnessed the normal, and sometimes you go through things and you kind of forget. But as I'm talking to you now, family, and it was an incident that took place that really, what's the word, really made me see this gang thing or this violent thing in real 3D color. You know, obviously I'd heard about it from previously, and you know of people indirectly and blah 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 blah. But a day came where I didn't see it directly, the actual blow, but I definitely saw the result of the blow. Do you understand? So what I'm saying is that I was there whilst basically a young man bled out. Do you understand? After being stabbed, one stab in his chest, yeah, and they left the knife in there, yeah, and in fact, this is what around the time, was it before or after that, I kind of saw Gang, or we saw them on YouTube and so on and so on, but that's what it was, people. I was coming home from work, not even to go into the story, but I'm going to tell the story just to show why I do believe that many people are, even young people, which is the frightening thing, are normalized to this. Yeah. So like I'm saying, I'm coming home from work, saw a crowd of people, and I think I saw a crowd of police, but I saw a crowd of people going to see what's going on because they're young people in their uniform and all sorts. And okay, there's a young youth out there bleeding out. Okay, but so then there was a lot of young people around it, but I'm there like nearly, I thought these were shitting myself because that's not even good English, but I'm like really like, oh my God, do you understand? Because there and they're working on him and all that, and I've never seen that before. Do you understand? As a big woman as I am, I've never seen that before. You understand? I.e. the ambulance people, trying to, save someone's life on. It was actually in someone's front garden. Yeah, like it was in someone's front garden, and yeah, they were doing their thing, and I think they were pumping and so forth, and then one of the youths that was there, like, nah, he's gone, man, allow it, man, he's gone. Yeah, I was like, I was looking around at all these children, and there's some girls that was kind of screaming and crying, but there was others that were just looking. Do you know what I mean, man? Them like, a couple like, boy, and for me, that was the most as much as the youths there, the most chilling thing for me was the reaction of the children around. And it just wasn't one of, oh my God, you know what I mean? Or whatever you would expect, but whatever I would have expected, that is not what I was seeing from these young children. Do you understand? And obviously now a little bit later, and there's more children, and like someone's going, what's wrong, man? And someone's like, oh man got it in his chest, and do you know what I mean? Just kept it moving. And then as I stood there, I started to hear the testimonies of the children, in terms of it's like every one of them had seen some kind of violence like that in their young little life already. Do you know what I mean? Start relaying certain stories. Oh, miss, I saw this when I was this. Miss, I was like, oh my God. And there was me and one next big woman. Yeah, and you could see that we were like physically shaken. Do you understand? But the youth, them, it was just like, it was just normal. Do you understand? And that's when it really hit me, the levels of this thing. These were young children. Yeah, these were like year 8, 9. It was probably year 7. Yeah, year 10 at the most, because the youth himself was year 10. Yeah. So I'm really telling you that story just to say, well, on that day, yeah, that's when I really realized, yeah, the levels of this thing, in that for some, or for maybe like myself, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's really, and for others it really is just like, and I don't say that to be disrespectful or to be like, but that's really how some, like, it's like they're punch drunk of it. Yeah, but that's not how I come up. So for me, I'm still like, wow. Yeah, so the normalization is what we really need to prevent for the youth them coming up, and that's what I have to talk about, because that's my generation, that's my youth coming up, and I definitely don't want him to grow up in that type of environment. Yeah, I don't want him to grow up in an environment where on his way home from school is peak. Yeah, and as a community, that's not what we should want for our children, which I'm sure we don't. Yeah, but it's about active solutions. Yeah, to you, it's going to time where we have to go and police the streets ourselves. Otherwise, if we leave our youths to the police, we don't know what could happen next. Yeah, because we all know about terms like martial law and all these things, and these things aren't no joke. Yeah, and right now, the way our youth them are going to, if they continue, we're just going to give them reason to bring in such things. Yeah, and you know what areas they're going to look to come to first. That's standard. Yeah, so I don't know, people. Yeah, but it's going to take us in the community to have more active roles. What those roles are, I couldn't tell you right now. Each one teach one is a start. Yeah. If there's any young people out there that you know that you can just kind of mentor without them even knowing. Yeah, because seemingly that's what a lot of them will need as well, that adult guidance. Someone to tell them no, don't. Yeah. And if there's enough of us doing that, yeah, then maybe it can make a difference for at least one. Because that's how we have to look at it right now. Slowly, slowly catch a monkey type of vibration. Yeah. Personally, I just want all out SAS 18 thing, grab up some, and that's what I want. Take man out, water and motor and everything, and drop them in, or just drop them in fucking Afghanistan or Syria, one war-torn country, and say, go and fight there. That's the life you want. Go and do it in a proper country. That's the type of reach I want to do, but apparently it can't work like that. Yeah, but community policing, it might have to be a thing we do in the future. You know what I mean? Look at certain hotspots and just have people out there lined up, high vised. Yeah, hoping that will be a deterrent. Yeah, hoping that these people aren't so. Now, next thing I need to say also, because you know what I mean. Apparently, there's a breakdown of also about. In fact, I don't want to go into that because that's not even my specialty, and I don't even care the difference, the different type of violence. To be honest, violence is violence, and we just need it gone because it isn't very civilized, and they're not acting very civilized. Do you understand me? So, but definitely, I just want to reiterate that I have definitely learned that some people are just sick. Not, I don't use the word sick of it, but yeah, the word normal was used to me, and I think that is such an interesting word. Very scary, and we can't really have generations coming up where it's normal. Do you know what I mean? And as a community, we shouldn't even want it to become a time or place where these sort of goings on become normal. Yeah, because all we're gonna do is hear, you get me, about flipping whatever the name that is it, Enoch Powell and his rivers of blood and all that nonsense, and see, told you so, and all, and we really don't need that in our lives right now. Yeah, because look, we all know it's nonsense, man. But how are we gonna get these young people to know it's nonsense and to stop it? Because they must have younger people that they care about their future for, even if not their own. You know. So yeah, man, the senseless killing. Yeah, that's what we need to get, because 15, 16. Do you know how many generations we're losing? You know, just losing generations for what? For what? In 2018. So yeah, people, man. But I haven't really come to tell it too long. Yeah, but just wanted to really say, well, at least they've come out and said something. Yeah, because I'm going to be going to watch my question time soon. I wonder what's the topic tonight. But just another thing I want to touch on, which is kind of related still, and I'm hoping myself and definitely Ultra in the future going to do a show about it. And it's basically that of mental health, you know, and mental health. Um, there's a big problem with mental health in many different communities. Yeah, that's a definite. But seemingly, yeah, there's a, well, not even seemingly, there's a piece in the paper, and it's headlined, "Pupils' mental health is our top fear, say parents." Yeah, So pupils' mental health is our top fear, says parents. Hold on. Oh. Oh, that's so nice. Sorry, people. Right now, I'm into sparkling water with like concentrated drink, or what you call it, juice. Very nice. Enough to stop drinking the Coke, and not that I drink a lot of fizzy drinks, but anyway, carbonated. But yeah, I digress. People's mental health is our top fear, says parents. It says the greatest fear parents have for children is the state of their mental health. New research suggests. A survey found the mental well-being of young people was more of a concern to mothers, fathers, guardians than, yeah, you hear that, people, more than education, more than future careers or prospective partners. Or look at that, the impact of crime, housing, or the environment. Yeah. So let me read that again, because I think that's what a survey found. Yeah. The mental well-being of young people was more of a concern to mothers, fathers, and guardians than education, future careers, or prospective partners, or the impact of crime, housing, or the environment. So it's pretty up there. Yeah. It's pretty up there. Yeah. And that's mental well-being. It says more than 1,500 parents took part in a poll by the Girls' Day School Trust, which is made up of 25 private schools and Mumsnet. Now, if we're saying, now remember, that's a poll of private school people, yeah? So, they're probably the more well-to-do, yeah, the more, higher up the socio-economic ladder, etc., 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 yeah? And they're saying that the mental health is a priority. So can you imagine us in the lower echelons of life? Yeah, yeah, who are going through real struggles. I'm sure their struggles aren't even struggles. But let me read on. It says 3/4 wanted pupils to be taught more about mental health and well-being, compared to just 1/4 who sought lessons on job interviews, techniques, and about half who highlighted online safety. Yeah. So seemingly these are going to be things of the future. So they want to know more about mental health and well-being. And I think that's about right, because the amount of pressure that the children are under today is immense. It's just immense. And that whole social media issue, oh, painful. It's going to be painful for many. It really is. I feel it's. I think it's a beast that's just gonna get out of control if it hasn't already. And I feel that going forward, I don't know if it's gonna be possible or not, but more parents are gonna possibly. You have to have more of a control on what your children are looking at and what they're doing on their phones and computers and so forth. I really do think that. I mean, I'm not going as far as to say censorship of your child and so forth, but I think as parents, we might need to have to play a much more significant role, yeah, in what our children are up to, just for their own safety, because the kind of madness that's out there for them in the media, etc., is crazy. Yeah. So it says 90% said their greatest hope for their child was that they grow up happy and fulfilled. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We're getting to a point where we just want our children to actually grow up and be fulfilled in it. Don't even worry about getting a big job. Don't even worry about having a bag of kids. Just please, just get to a certain age and be safe. Yeah. It says just 1% said they wanted to have a successful business. Now look at that. How times have changed. If that was the 80s, that would be completely the wrong way around, or the other way around. Have I read that right? 90% said their greatest hope for their child was that they grow up happy and fulfilled. Just 1% said they wanted them to have a successful business. Croydon High School head Emma Patterson said attitudes had changed radically in the last 15 years. I'm telling you. Because as I'm saying, in the 80s and 90s, that would be a complete mad statement to hear anyone say, especially anyone whose children are going to private school, etc. It says every prospective parent now asked her about mental health provision. That is really, really poignant, people. Yeah, mental health provision, and we know it's a conversation that we're gonna have to be having in the future, because many of us are probably speaking to people right now, yeah, who could be going through a mental episode and we don't even know. Because many of us are very, very good and have had to be, unfortunately, at hiding shit or hiding our feelings, or, do you know what I mean? Many people bury their shit and don't really deal with it, and then it comes out in the most horrible and aggressive way, you know? Like, that kind of program, Snap to Film, that type of thing where the build up is just too much. And yeah, so, and there's so many different types of mental health issues. It's only when doing a little research and seeing the different categories under mind. I didn't even know there were so many. There's many, many, many. Obviously we know about the main ones that people know about: schizophrenia and the bipolar and this and that, but there are so many others. Which they are now calling mental health, Yeah, back in the day, probably said, "My God, Bruce needs a box in our head." But so yeah, it says every parent parent now asks her about mental health provision. She added, "There is a real understanding of the importance of mental health. It's at the top of parents' list." Wow. "They all ask, what is your pastoral provision, your philosophy? They hear things that scare them and see stats that worry them." She says, "Modern life is a bit more stressful. Young people see the stats about austerity and unemployment. They worry about their position in that society." There you go. Social media can be a catch-all to blame. Sorry. Social media can be a catch-all to all blame. A catch-all to blame. Like, that's correct, right? But it is a factor. I think they're trying to say it's not everything, but it is a factor. Social media makes them think the world is perfect. Yeah, you see, that's the biggest thing. It's a fraud. It's an illusion to go with all the other illusions. Yeah, who knows the Salamar tune? It's just an illusion. But anyway, yeah, man, you see that word illusion? You lot better get used to it. Oh, there's bare illusions out here. Bare illusions. Like money, for example. Yeah. Fiat money. Yeah. Which is no money at all. Yeah. Which is why I encourage you to check out a company called Karatbars, Karatbars. If I can find a way, I'll leave the what's it called? What do they say? Leave the link in the description or something, or type it somewhere. But basically, people, it's a way of uh turning your fiat dead money, yeah, into a real asset, being gold. Okay, and if you know about gold, it's the first type of currency. It's the only real currency. Yeah, and this company gives you the opportunity to buy gold and also buy cryptocurrency backed by gold. Yeah, so when you hear me say hashtag Karatbars, that's what it is. Yeah, a whole gold economic ecosystem. It's bud, and I'll be uploading a couple of videos about that. Yeah, but I know my people, they're very thick-headed, and but some financial literacy is needed out here. So, like I said before, that's something that I'm going to speak about. I'm not an expert by all means, yeah, but yeah, we know that this thing here is working, yeah, and it's something. You know what it is, people. It's about trying to develop a portfolio, yeah, and this is something that you can certainly start and engage in a portfolio, definitely. Okay. So she said modern life is a bit more stressful. Okay, I digress to saying people. Yeah. But you'll find that I do that still. Because life isn't linear, is it? It's not straight. You got to veer off course sometimes. So, yep, social media. Okay, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Social media makes them think the world is perfect and they need to aspire to that. Schools need to bust that myth. And I think that's a very, very good point. Yeah. And a lot of this social media and this illusion thing is also driving, I believe, some of these killings, and all of the crud and the clout and me a bad man and me a better man from you and ego people. Ego, man them. Sometimes you gotta let go of the ego. Yeah. Let go of the ego. Tomorrow's another day. Many a man would be alive today if it wasn't for his ego. That's a fact. Do you understand? And yeah, that's why we've got to teach our children critical thinking. Do you understand? And teach our children how to maintain them and manage their emotions. Yeah, because I think that if the better our children, especially our boy children, can manage their emotions, then it might keep them a bit safer. Yeah, and for our children to have a bit of fear, because I think the things like fear have been taken away from our children. Somehow it's been eradicated. Yeah, they have very little fear of situations and circumstances. Yeah, and we know that fear is a good thing because we know that fear it can keep you what safe. Yeah, if you're scared of heights, yeah, you're very unlikely to flipping fall from the top of a building because you won't be up there. Do you understand? It's probably a poor example right now, but you understand what I'm fear in it. That adrenaline to not want harm of yourself. That type of thing. But I think a lot of youth them it's being lost. I don't know if that's down to the flavors that they're smoking. Yeah. Because when you're smoking something called amnesia, I don't know what you expect and all that AK-47 and then mad thing there. That's the next thing that's mashing up our youth then. But anyway, that's a different story again. Yeah, please stop smoking them type of things, man. Yeah, get back to the real Solomon thing. Yeah, not the thing made up in the lab under lights. Yeah, no real plant herb should be able to be grown and cultivated in 6 weeks and ready for production to go into your body. No start. Not down with that. But yeah, the flavors, man, the flavors. They're not doing us no good. You them us banning flavors and going out on moves. So so I'm just gonna finish off the article still in the budget chart. No, gosh, how did it? Sorry. So yeah, in the budget, back to good old Chancellor again. It's like he's found some more money. He said he's announced more cash for schools to tackle eating disorders, depression, and self-harm. So yep, we know we need to be doing some shows about them things there. Eating disorders. Yeah. Many men now are having eating disorders. Yeah. Can't believe it. Madness. Depression and self-harm. Now we know that all these type of things are byproducts of alright, sorry people, just getting a bit distracted there. But yeah, sorry. Gosh, just took myself off track there. Yes, I said tackling eating disorders, depression, and self harm. All schools in England must include mental well being and resilience in the curriculum from 2020. So it's actually going to be going into the curriculum from 2020. So that actually just shows the rise of it and how significant it's become, where the government feel they now have to not only address it but introduce it into the curriculum. And it just says the GDST Chief Executive Cheryl Giovanni said parents want academic excellence, but they and we should expect so much more from education. Yeah. So people, if that's the upper echelons, the private schools, if they're looking to introduce it into the schools, into their curriculum, then it should let us ones like I said below see how important it is. Yeah, mental well-being, and that's what I'm saying. As parents, maybe we need to. I don't know. I've got to choose your words so carefully here. But you see, life and being busy in life, and many parents are working parents and don't necessarily have the time for the child like once before, and this, that, and the other. And as such, some of our children are sort of climbing through the spaces that are left. You know, it's very hard for many, and that's the thing. I don't want people to think that. No, let me not veer off. Let me not veer off. People, stay on track. Nine, stay on track. So yeah, look, people. Like I said, I'm not going to tower too long, but yeah. And just to end, in fact, yeah, a bit something a little bit more light-hearted here. Okay, it says ex-boyfriend stole my cash for a Paris trip with a new girl. Well, there's this story made me laugh. If I'm me now, it's problems. He said a fraud victim says she caught her ex heading off on holiday with another woman after paying for the trip with money he stole from her. Boo! Angel Exford, 29, said she gave Michael, I can't even pronounce his second name, her bank card to pay a bill on a night out when he claimed he had lost her wallet. Yeah? So she sent the man for a Pier 1 bill, people. Yeah? And the man said he lost her wallet. She said they split up after she saw on Snapchat, boy, that Snapchat thing takes life, boy, that he had been on the town again the next night, despite his apparent lack of funds. See it there? So, through Snapchat, she knows that the man's out raving, although he told her the day before that he ain't got no money. Unknown to her, he had stolen her card details, and a month later, she noticed £1,000 from her account had been spent on items including flowers, flight tickets, and a hotel booking. She said the payment to EasyJet included flight details, allowing her to catch, I think it's for Hersford, red-handed at Gatwick on October the 5th. Thanks to my friends who helped assemble the evidence from Twitter. You hear that? Yes. First Snapchat, now Twitter. Yo. Where he'd written he was going to Paris. I was able to go to the police, she said. I cancelled all my cards, and as my card had been used for the flights, I was able to access his boarding passes, one for him and one for his girl. We then decided to confront Michael with police at Gatwick, and he was arrested. Good. That's the old feisty. I mean, that's what you call a waste, man. Fehisford, 26, admitted fraud at Camberwell Green Magistrates Court in London, 22nd of October. He received a suspended sentence. See, I think he should go to jail, personally, and 150 hours of community service. Dental hygienist Miss Exford of Lambeth, South London, said she won compensation. She used hashtag #FraudBay based on the Bay slang for boy or girlfriend to shame the fraudster online. Yes. So look out, innit? Yeah, man told his girl he's gonna pay a bill with her card. He took the card. He said he lost it. Two twos. He's booked a holiday with an ex-girl. Yeah, but she catch him. Yeah, not quite a honey trap, but she catch him. Yeah, but that's just to show the type of scummy man that's really out there, stuff. Because that's low. I'm sure you would all agree. That's low, 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 low. All right, people. Well, listen, I'm out. Yeah. Thanks for your ears once again. Yeah, I mean, have a blessed evening. Yeah, it's the last day of the week tomorrow, Friday. Yeah, so For those of us that do the Monday to Friday, you know, tomorrow's like Christmas, so we don't know. Until we speak again, or you hear from me again, take care. One love. Don't know. Out.